He unlocked the penthouse door with the same careless confidence he carried everywhere, the sunburn from his Bahamas vacation still warm on his skin. Cole Harriman stepped inside with his duffel bag slung over his shoulder, the faint scent of expensive cologne and ocean breeze trailing behind him. He expected Lena to be waiting, maybe tired, maybe emotional, but still there, standing in the soft glow of the Manhattan skyline with their newborn son cradled in her arms. Instead, he walked into silence. Not the peaceful kind, the hollow, echoing kind. The kind that tells a man something is terribly, irreversibly wrong. The crib was gone. The baby bottles, blankets, the rocking chair he never once used, all gone. Even the framed sonogram that Lena used to stare at for hours had vanished. Cole frowned, tossing his keys on the marble counter. "Lena?" he called out, annoyance dripping into the emptiness. "Enough with the dramatics. Where are you?" His voice bounced off bare walls. Then he noticed the envelope on the dining table. One single envelope. No name. No flourish. Just a cold, white rectangle waiting for him like a verdict. Inside, it wasn't a goodbye letter. It wasn't divorce papers. It wasn't even anger. It was a hospital invoice. Unpaid. Stamped in red. Mother discharged early, left in distress. Cole's stomach dropped for the first time in years. He grabbed his phone, scrolling the photos he'd posted over the weekend. Luxury yachts, champagne towers, the model Ariel kissing his cheek, thousands of likes, hundreds of comments. But one stood out, posted just 2 hours earlier. "Interesting vacation for a man whose wife just gave birth. Hope you find them before someone else does." The room tilted. Someone else? Who would dare touch what belonged to him? That was the moment Cole realized Lena hadn't simply left. She had been helped, and whoever helped her knew exactly how to destroy him. But the true shock was still waiting just behind the next closed door. The monitors beeped softly in the dim hospital room, a fragile rhythm that matched the rise and fall of Lena Whitford's breath. She lay there, pale and exhausted, her body still trembling from the emergency delivery that came 3 weeks too soon. The fluorescent lights flickered overhead, casting a cold glow on her face as she stared at the tiny bundle in the incubator beside her. Her son Evan struggled with every breath, and she was alone. Cole hadn't answered a single call, not when her water broke on the bathroom floor, not during the frantic ambulance ride, not when the doctors whispered words like premature and respiratory distress. He responded only hours later with a text message. "Busy. Handle it. Handle it." She wiped a tear away, careful not to disturb her IV line. The nurse had left her a warm blanket, but nothing warmed the ache spreading through her chest. As she watched Evan's small chest flutter, she realized she'd crossed an invisible line. She no longer feared the loneliness. She feared staying. The door creaked, and a doctor stepped inside. Not her assigned doctor, someone she recognized instantly. Dr. Adrian Blackstone, the same man whose little sister Lena had saved years ago in the ER. He approached her quietly, his expression shadowed with concern. "Lena," he said gently, "they told me you delivered early. Why isn't your husband here?" She tried to answer, but her voice broke. Adrian's jaw clenched, and for a moment, the CEO vanished, leaving only the protective brother whose family owed her everything. "You're not safe with that man," he said. "I can help you, but you have to trust me. Thanks for watching." "In efface them?" Lena shook her head weakly. "He'll find me. He'll take Evan. He controls everything, our accounts, our home, even my medical insurance." Adrian pulled a chair close, lowering his voice. "Then we take away his control. You leave tonight, I'll handle the rest." Lena stared at her sleeping son, her heart pounding. Could she run? Could she actually escape the cage she'd lived in for years? A loud knock interrupted them. A nurse rushed in, breathless, holding Lena's chart. "You need to see this," she whispered urgently to Adrian. He skimmed the paperwork and froze. His eyes lifted, dark with alarm. "Lena, did you know your husband signed a transfer request for Evan to take him to a private facility out of state without your consent?" Her blood ran cold. What facility?" Adrian looked at her, voice barely above a whisper. "One that doesn't exist in our system." Her heartbeat stuttered. Cole wasn't just abandoning them. He was planning something far worse. And Lena's window to escape was about to slam shut. The hospital corridor felt colder than it should. Lena clutched the thin blanket around her trembling body as Adrian guided her into a small consultation room. Her legs were still weak from the delivery, but fear gave her enough strength to stay standing. Adrian closed the blinds before speaking. "Lena, listen carefully. Cole didn't just sign a transfer. He requested immediate relocation to a facility listed under a shell corporation. Whoever approved it did so without verifying anything. That means someone on the inside is working for him." Her breath hitched. "Why would he move, Evan? Why without me?" Adrian exhaled slowly. "Because if the transfer goes through, legally, Cole can claim you abandoned the child. You'd lose custody before you even step out of this hospital." The room spun. Lena gripped the back of a chair to steady herself. "He wouldn't. He couldn't." "He would," Adrian interrupted gently. "You know he would." She knew. Deep down, she'd always known. Cole Harriman wasn't a man who left things to chance. He built his life on control, absolute, suffocating control. And now, Evan wasn't a child to him. He was leverage. A soft cry echoed from the hallway, the cry of another newborn, but it made Lena's heart twist. She thought of Evan's tiny hands, the little knitted cap a nurse had placed on his head. She had barely held him for more than minutes. And now Cole wanted to take him away completely. Adrian placed his phone on the table. "We have a narrow window. The transfer order was scheduled for dawn. If you leave before then, Cole loses the paperwork trail. He can't claim abandonment if you're the one who removes Evan from danger." Lena's breath shook. "But I have no money, no car, no place to go. He cut off every account. That's why I'm here." Adrian's voice dropped even lower. "I can relocate you to a secure home. I'll arrange medical support for Evan. You won't owe me anything." She stared at him, disbelief warring with terror. "This is insane. Running away? Hiding? I never wanted this." "I know," he said softly, "but Cole forced your hand." A knock interrupted them. 3 sharp raps, too deliberate to be accidental. Adrian stiffened. "That's not hospital security." The door handle moved. Voices murmured outside. "Room 214. The mother's inside. Harriman wants her contained until pickup," a man said. Lena froze. They hadn't even waited for dawn. They were coming now. And there was no safe exit left inside the hospital. Adrian moved first. He blew out the lights, plunging the small consultation room into darkness, just as the door handle jerked again. Lena clamped a hand over her mouth, her pulse racing beneath her fingertips. Her legs, still unsteady from the delivery, threatened to give out, but fear welded her to the spot. "Stay behind me," Adrian whispered. The door opened a crack. A sliver of hallway light spilled in, outlining the silhouette of a man in a dark jacket too broad, too confident to be hospital staff. Another figure stood behind him. "Check inside," one of them muttered. Adrian grabbed Lena's hand and pulled her toward the back wall. With one swift motion, he pushed aside a tall supply cabinet, revealing a narrow maintenance passage. "This leads to the loading dock," he whispered. "Move fast. Don't stop." Lena's breath hitched. "What about Evan? I can't leave without him." Adrian met her eyes. "I've already arranged it. One of the neonatal nurses you trained last year, Mara, she's loyal. She's taking Evan through a separate exit right now. He'll be in my car within minutes." A rush of relief and panic collided in her chest. You planned for this?" "I planned for Cole," Adrian said. "And he's more desperate than I expected." The men entered the room. Adrian shoved Lena into the passageway and slid the cabinet back into place, sealing them into darkness. The passage was narrow, smelling faintly of bleach and old wiring. Lena clung to the wall, forcing her body to move even though every step sent pain shooting through her abdomen. The cold concrete floor numbed her bare feet. Behind them, muffled voices echoed. "She's not here. Search the next wing." Adrian guided her quickly, turning corners with practiced efficiency. "This isn't the first time I've had to move someone quietly," he murmured. "How many?" Lena whispered. "Enough to know when a man is dangerous." A door appeared at the end of the corridor. Adrian pushed it open, revealing the damp night air and loading trucks lined along the back lot. Rain had just begun to fall, dotting the asphalt with dark patches. A black SUV idled near the dumpsters, headlights off. Through the tinted window, Lena spotted Mara in the back seat, cradling Evan, wrapped securely in blankets. Her knees nearly buckled. They were so close. Adrian hurried her forward, but before they reached the SUV, a sharp beam of light swept across the lot. Someone had stepped outside the hospital's service entrance, holding a flashlight. "Hey, who's there?" a voice shouted. Adrian cursed under his breath. Then the flashlight turned and pointed directly at them. And the man holding it wasn't a guard, it was Cole's head of security. The flashlight froze on them, slicing through the wet night air like a blade. Adrian instinctively stepped in front of Lena, shielding her with his body. Behind the SUV window, Mara tightened her grip on baby Evan, her frightened eyes meeting Lena's through the glass. "Stop right there." Cole's head of security, Briggs, barked. His voice thundered across the loading dock, echoing off the concrete walls. He began striding toward them, boots splashing through shallow puddles as rain picked up from drizzle to a steady, cold curtain. Lena's breath hitched. "He can't take Evan. We won't get him back." Adrian grabbed her hand. "Then don't stop." He sprinted toward the SUV, pulling Lena with him. Briggs broke into a run. Adrian yanked open the rear door just as Lena stumbled inside, clutching the seat to keep from collapsing. Mara slid Evan into her arms, and Lena felt her son's tiny warmth through the blanket. Her heart nearly cracked open. "He's yours now. Don't let go," Mara whispered urgently. Adrian dashed around the front to the driver's side, but Briggs closed in fast. Too fast. Before Adrian could get inside, Briggs lunged, grabbing him by the collar and slamming him against the hood with a sickening thud. Lena screamed as Adrian staggered, rain streaking down his face, mixing with the blood from a cut opening above his brow. "Get away from him," Lena cried. Briggs ignored her, reaching for the driver's door. "Harriman wants the kid. You're not going anywhere." Adrian gritted his teeth, shoved Briggs hard, and managed to rip open the driver's door. "Hold on," he yelled. Lena clutched Evan tighter as Adrian slid into the seat. Briggs lunged again, grabbing the door frame. Adrian slammed the door against his arm twice, until Briggs recoiled with a howl. The SUV roared to life. Tires screeched. Briggs pounded the window with his fist. "You're making a mistake. Cole will bury all of you." Adrian floored the accelerator, and the SUV shot forward, fishtailing on the slick pavement before gaining traction. Briggs grew smaller in the rear window, shouting into a phone as the hospital lights blurred behind them. Lena's breathing came in ragged bursts. "He's calling Cole. They'll track us." "They can try," Adrian said, wiping blood from his eyebrow with the back of his hand. "But we're not going back." Evan stirred weakly. Lena kissed his tiny forehead, whispering, "I won't let them take you. I won't." The city lights faded as they entered the highway, rain hammering the windshield. Mara twisted in her seat, fear tightening her voice. "Adrian, we're being followed." Two black sedans pulled onto the ramp behind them. Too close. Too deliberate. Her stomach dropped, and when the sedan's headlights flashed twice, Adrian realized exactly who was inside. Rain slammed against the windshield like handfuls of gravel as the SUV shot down the interstate, wipers dragging frantically across the glass. Lena held Evan tight against her chest, his tiny breaths warm and uneven beneath the blanket. Every bump in the road jolted her fresh stitches, but fear numbed the pain. "Those cars, they're too close," Mara whispered, twisting in her seat to watch the black sedans closing in behind them. "Are they Cole's men?" Adrian didn't answer immediately. His jaw tightened, the faint glow from the dashboard reflecting off the streak of dried blood across his temple. "Headlights flashing twice," he muttered. "That's a signal. They're coordinating." Lena's voice cracked. "He sent more people? Why? What does he want with Evan so badly?" Adrian gripped the wheel harder, knuckles white. "Because Evan is leverage, and men like Cole only understand leverage." The sedans accelerated. One swung left, the other moved to the right, like wolves, preparing to box in their prey. Adrian cursed under his breath. "They're trying to funnel us off the highway." Lena's stomach dropped. "Can you outrun them? With a newborn in the car? I'm not risking a crash. If you risn't 7 Tom with Paradosk." The left sedan nudged closer, its bumper nearly kissing theirs. Lena's pulse spiked. Evan whimpered softly, disturbed by the sudden jolt. Mara pointed ahead. "There's an exit, Cutter's Ridge. Take it." Adrian shook his head. "Too obvious. They want us funneled into a dead zone." Another nudge, harder this time. The SUV lurched sideways. Lena bit back a cry, curling her body protectively around Evan. "Adrian, do something," Mara shouted. He slammed the brakes. The SUV jerked violently as both sedans shot forward, overshooting the trap. Without missing a beat, Adrian twisted the wheel and veered onto a narrow service road hidden in the shadows beneath the overpass. "Hold on," he warned. The SUV bounced over gravel, the tires spitting mud. Behind them, screeching brakes echoed as the sedans attempted to correct course. Lena's heartbeat drummed in her ears. "Where does this road go?" "A utility route," Adrian said. "No cameras, no streetlights, and if we're lucky, no backup." Rainwater streamed across the cracked pavement like silver veins. Trees crowded both sides, bending in the wind as if trying to swallow the road whole. For a moment, the sedans disappeared from view. Silence. Just the engine. Just the rain. Then, headlights appeared again. "They found us," Mara whispered. The sedans barreled toward them with renewed speed, gaining ground far too quickly. Adrian's eyes widened as he realized something Lena didn't. "They're not trying to block us anymore," he said, voice dropping. "They're trying to ram us." The road narrowed ahead, lined with metal guardrails. No room to escape, no room to maneuver. And the sedan behind them gunned its engine. It was coming in fast, straight for the back seat where Lena and Evan sat. The roar of the engine behind them grew into a violent, animal sound, raw, aggressive, unrestrained. Lena tightened her grip around Evan, her body instinctively curling to shield him as the SUV jolted forward. Rain hammered the roof in frantic bursts, each drop echoing the pounding of her heart. "Adrian," Mara screamed from the passenger seat, "they're going to hit us." "I know," he snapped, eyes scanning the narrowing road ahead. "I need a curve, a slope, anything, something I can use." But the service road stretched straight as a rail line, bordered by metal guardrails on both sides. No shoulder, no escape, no mercy. The sedan lunged again. This time, the impact slammed into the back of the SUV like a freight train. Lena's teeth clacked together. Pain shot through her abdomen, ripping open the tender ache left from surgery. Evan let out a tiny, terrified cry. "Easy, baby. I've got you," she whispered, though her voice trembled. Adrian fought the wheel as the SUV fishtailed. Gravel sprayed in a wild arc behind them. "I can't take another hit like that. If they push us into the rail, we'll flip." "Then don't let them," Mara shouted, one hand pressed against the dashboard to steady herself. Another impact, harder this time. The rear window cracked, spiderwebbing under the force. Lena gasped, pulling Evan closer as glass dust drifted around them. "They're insane," Lena whispered. "They could kill us. They could kill him." Adrian's jaw clenched. "They don't care about you. They only care about delivering Evan to Cole." End quote. Lightning flashed across the sky, illuminating the silhouette of the pursuing sedan. Somehow, the momentary brightness made the threat feel more real, more monstrous. Up ahead, Adrian spotted a fork in the road, nearly hidden by overgrown trees and an unlit sign half swallowed by vines. A private maintenance trail. Narrow, dangerous, but their only chance. "Hold tight," Adrian said. Without warning, he cut the wheel sharply and veered onto the trail. The SUV bounced violently, wheels slamming into potholes as mud splattered in thick streaks across the windows. The sedan behind them tried to follow, but it was too fast, too heavy. It skidded sideways, tires shrieking. The metal guardrail groaned, and the sedan flipped, rolling down the embankment in a cascade of sparks and twisting steel. Mara gasped. "Oh my God, Adrian, they—" "Don't look," he said firmly. "We don't stop." Lena's heart pounded. She knew Cole wouldn't care about casualties. He would send more. He would never stop. Evan whimpered again, and she kissed the top of his soft, tiny head. "We'll be okay, I promise." But promises felt fragile in a night like this. And when Adrian suddenly slowed, eyes narrowing at something ahead of them on the dark trail, Lena felt her blood turn to ice. Because there, blocking the path, stood a second SUV waiting for them with its headlights off. Adrian slammed the brakes, and the SUV lurched to a stop so abruptly, Lena had to brace herself with one arm while holding Evan close with the other. The headlights barely illuminated the outline of the vehicle, blocking their path bigger, heavier, and positioned sideways like a barricade. Mara gasped. "How did they get ahead of us? We took a hidden service road." "They must have used the construction access tunnels," Adrian said, breath tight. Cole planned this. Every route, every fallback. Thanks for watching. The SUV ahead flicked its headlights on bright, blinding beams that forced Adrian to lift a hand to shield his eyes. The silhouette of a man stepped out, holding an umbrella against the heavy rain. Lena recognized him instantly. Victor Lane, Cole's attorney. The man who smiled like a shark and never appeared anywhere without a strategy already written. Victor called out through the storm, his voice smooth and unnervingly calm. Adrian, Lena, let's not make this worse. Come out. Give us the child. No one needs to get hurt. Adrian leaned slightly toward Lena. He's lying. They'll take Evan, and they won't let you walk away. Lena's pulse thudded painfully in her ears. Evan whimpered, sensing the tension. Her arms tightened around him automatically, her entire body trembling. Adrian, what do we do? He scanned their surroundings. The road behind us is too slick to reverse at speed. The trail to the left is blocked by debris. That leaves. His eyes locked onto the narrow slope descending into the trees. That's not a road, Mara said. It doesn't have to be. It only has to get us out of their line of sight. Victor began walking closer, umbrella bobbing in the storm. Last warning, he called. If you force our hand, the consequences won't be pleasant. Adrian didn't wait for pleasant. He slammed the SUV into gear. Victor froze. Don't you dare. Adrian turned sharply and aimed the SUV toward the muddy slope. Tires screeched as the vehicle tilted, sliding down through wet leaves and loose earth. Branches scraped the windows. Mara screamed. Rain hammered the roof like gunfire. Adrian, we'll flip, Lena cried. Only if I brake, he replied. Behind them, Victor shouted orders. Doors slammed. Engines roared back to life. The pursuit had begun again. The SUV skidded violently but held together as they plunged deeper into the forest, bouncing over exposed roots and rocks. Every jolt sent pain ripping through Lena's incision. Evan whimpered louder. Please, Lena whispered to her son. Just a little longer. Branches snapped behind them, the sound of the other SUVs pushing into the trees. They're following, Mara whispered, her voice trembling. Adrian nodded grimly. They won't stop, but we're close to the eastern edge. There should be a shoreline access path. If we can reach it. He didn't finish, because through the trees ahead, lights shimmered. Not headlights, floodlights. A clearing. A building. A place Lena recognized even before Adrian said it. The old ferry station, he breathed. If it's unlocked, we can hide until sunrise. But as they approached, Lena saw something that made her blood run cold. The ferry station's doors were already open, and someone was standing inside waiting for them. The SUV rolled to a harsh stop, tires hissing against the wet gravel as the floodlights washed over them. The old ferry station loomed at the edge of the river, abandoned for years, its wooden siding warped, its roof sagging like a tired beast. But the doors, usually chained shut, were wide open, swaying gently in the storm. Someone had been expecting them. Adrian killed the engine, his eyes narrowing. Stay inside. Don't move unless I say. Lena clutched Evan close, her heart thudding painfully beneath her ribs. The baby whimpered against her chest, unsettled by the chaos, the cold, the tension that suffocated every inch of the night. Mara leaned forward, whispering urgently. Who could be in there? Cole? More of his security? No, Adrian murmured. Cole doesn't do subtle. Whoever's in that building wants us alive. That didn't comfort Lena at all. Adrian stepped out into the downpour. Rain soaked him instantly, flattening his shirt to his skin. He walked slowly toward the open doors, each footstep deliberate. Lena watched from the window, breath fogging the glass. A figure stepped forward from the shadows. Not a man, a woman. Her coat was elegant, expensive wool, camel-colored, tailored perfectly. Her hair, though damp from the storm, fell in glossy waves around a composed, confident face. Lena recognized her. She couldn't breathe. Ariel Wells, Cole's mistress. The model from the Bahamas. The woman Cole had chosen over his pregnant wife. Ariel raised her hands slightly, palms outward, as if calming a frightened animal. Before you assume the worst, she said over the wind, I'm not here to take the baby. I'm here because Cole lied to me too. Adrian didn't buy it. Move away from the doorway. Ariel stepped back, revealing a duffel bag at her feet. Everything you need to know about him is in there. Financial documents, recordings, contracts he forced me to sign. Evidence he thought he destroyed. Lena felt her pulse spike. Evidence. The one thing Cole feared more than losing money. Mara whispered, "Why would she help us?" As if hearing the question, Ariel's gaze shifted toward the SUV, straight to the back seat where Lena sat. Her expression softened, guilty, regretful. "Because he didn't just lie," Ariel called out. "He hurt people. He hurt me. And he plans to take your son, Lena, not for love, for leverage. If you know their Solos thing," and Riverator. Lightning cracked across the sky, illuminating her face. And in that flash, Lena saw bruises along Ariel's jawline. Fresh ones. Adrian stepped closer. "If this is real, why now? Why risk everything to betray him?" Ariel's voice trembled for the first time. "Because Cole Harriman isn't chasing you tonight," she said. "He's running from someone far more dangerous." The wind howled. Lena's grip tightened on Evan. And Ariel whispered, "Cole didn't send those men. Someone else did. It's commodories." Rain drummed angrily on the ferry station roof as Adrian stepped between Ariel and the SUV, keeping a careful, distrustful distance. Lena could barely feel her fingers from gripping Evan so tightly. Something about Ariel's expression, fear layered beneath her glamorous exterior, told Lena this wasn't a performance. Not tonight. Adrian kept his voice steady. "If Cole didn't send those men, then who did?" Ariel swallowed hard. The storm wind whipped her hair around her face as she spoke. "Cole's been spiraling since Lena disappeared. He's not thinking clearly. He called me 2 nights ago drunk, paranoid. He said someone was threatening him, someone he owed, and that they'd collect what mattered most." Lena felt the room tilt. "What does that mean?" "Evan," Ariel whispered. "They want Evan." Adrian's eyes narrowed. "Who wants him?" Ariel hesitated, as if saying the name might summon the person herself. "Cole's silent investor, a woman named Celeste Rowan." "I have 2. Mara's eyebrows shot up. "The hedge fund owner? She bankrolls half the city." Ariel nodded. "She funded Cole's media acquisitions. When his numbers started tanking, he hid the losses. When she found out, she didn't threaten legal action. She threatened personal destruction. She's ruthless. She doesn't use courts. She uses leverage." Adrian muttered, "And Cole's child would be leverage." Lightning cracked across the sky, illuminating Adrian's grim expression. He motioned for everyone to get inside the station. Once they were sheltered from the storm, Ariel set down the duffel bag. Papers spilled out contracts, secret transfers, coded payment logs, and nestled between them was something that made Adrian's jaw clench. A pre-filled infant passport, issued under Celeste Rowan's private travel network. Lena felt sick. They were going to take him out of the country. Ariel nodded solemnly. Cole told Celeste he could provide the collateral she demanded if she bailed him out. He meant Evan. But once he sobered up, he tried to back out. And Celeste doesn't accept apologies. Adrian paced slowly, every step heavy. "So Celeste sent her own men tonight." "They're not just her men," Ariel said. "They're ex-private security, the kind who erase problems." Lena felt the blood drain from her face. She had feared Cole. But this woman, this unseen puppeteer, was on another level entirely. Ariel knelt beside Lena. "I didn't know he would go this far. When I realized Evan was in danger, I couldn't stay silent." Lena searched her face, looking for cracks, for lies. Instead, she found something unexpected: fear mixed with remorse. Before Lena could respond, Adrian lifted a hand. Silence. Footsteps. Soft, methodical. Coming from outside. Not running. Not searching. Approaching. Purposefully. Then a woman's voice, calm, cultured, chilling, echoed through the storm. "Lena Whitford. Adrian Blackstone, bring me the child. We need to talk." For a moment, no one in the ferry station moved. Even the storm outside seemed to hesitate, as if the wind itself feared the woman standing just beyond the threshold. Celeste Rowan walked into the glow of the floodlights with the calm assuredness of someone who'd already won. Her long black coat trailed behind her, rain droplets sparkling like crystals on the expensive wool. Her silver hair was tied in a sleek twist, her expression unreadable. She was elegance sharpened into a weapon. Adrian instinctively stepped in front of Lena, though he knew Celeste wasn't the type to get her hands dirty. Her power wasn't physical, it was absolute authority, exercised without raising her voice. Celeste's gaze drifted across the room, pausing on Adrian. You should know better, she said calmly. Harboring a fugitive mother and a disputed infant? Highly unwise for a man with a medical empire. Adrian didn't flinch. You're not taking Evan. Celeste arched one eyebrow. I don't need to take anything. Cole offered the child as collateral. Legally speaking, he's already ceded temporary claim. Lena felt her stomach twist. Evan isn't property. Celeste's eyes finally settled on her. Cold, calculated, almost curious. On the contrary, everything becomes property in the right hands. Ariel stepped forward sharply. You're lying. Cole was drunk when he made that deal. He didn't understand what he was doing. Celeste smiled faintly. Cole Harriman has never done anything he didn't think benefited himself. His only mistake was assuming he could negotiate with me. Adrian clenched his jaw. You threatened him. I reminded him of consequences. Her tone didn't change, but the room felt colder. Mara whispered to Lena. She's terrifying. Lena held Evan closer. His soft breathing steadied her resolve. Why us? Why my baby? What could a newborn possibly give you? Celeste tilted her head, as if inspecting a flaw in crystal. Cole owes me more than money. He owes me obedience. When a man like him falters, you take what matters most to ensure he never falters again. Lena's voice cracked. So this is about control. This is about leverage, Celeste corrected quietly. Lightning flashed, illuminating her eyes sharp, metallic, predatory. But I am a reasonable woman, she continued. Give me the child now, and none of you will be harmed. I may even ensure Cole never bothers you again. Lena's breath shook. Never bothers me, or never breathes again. Celeste didn't answer, which was answer enough. Adrian whispered, We're not giving her Evan. Whatever happens. Celeste sighed, almost disappointed. Then you leave me no choice. She lifted a hand. Footsteps thundered outside. More than two, more than three. A small army. And then the doors behind them slammed shut, locking Lena, Adrian, Evan, and Mara inside with Celeste Rowan's private strike team. The sound of heavy boots filled the ferry station, synchronized and merciless, like a drumline marching straight toward them. Lena tightened her hold on Evan, shielding his tiny body beneath her coat. The old building vibrated from the force of the approaching strike team. Celeste's personal enforcers, not hired thugs but trained operatives who'd carried out far darker missions than retrieving a newborn. Adrian stepped in front of Lena again, though he knew it meant little against a squad like this. Mara pressed her back against the wall beside them, trembling but ready to fight if she had to. Ariel watched Celeste with a hollow expression, as if seeing, for the first time, the true nature of the woman she once admired. Celeste folded her hands neatly in front of her, as if waiting for a dinner reservation, not orchestrating a kidnapping. You should appreciate the efficiency, she said calmly. No chaos, no unnecessary noise. Cooperate, and this ends quickly. Adrian grit his teeth. You think we're just going to stand here while you steal a child? Celeste's lips twitched. Steal? No. I reclaim what was offered. Lena's voice cracked. He's not an object. He's my son. And yet, Celeste replied, he is the only bargaining chip Cole has left, and I always collect. She lifted her chin slightly. Restrain the doctor first. The team advanced. Adrian lunged for a metal chair, swinging it wide to keep them back. Sparks flew as one of the operatives blocked the blow with a tactical shield. Another moved around him, fast, precise. Mara grabbed a rusted pipe from the floor and swung with surprising strength, catching a man across the arm. He hissed in pain but didn't stop. Ariel stumbled backward. Celeste, please, this isn't necessary. Lena didn't do anything. Take Cole, he's the one who lied. Celeste didn't even look at her. Cole is irrelevant. He has nothing I want but the child. Lena felt her knees buckling under the weight of fear. Evan whimpered, sensing her panic. His small breaths hitched against her chest, reminding her what she was fighting for. Adrian shouted, Lena, run! But there was nowhere to run. The exit behind them slammed shut. Two operatives blocked the side corridor. Another stepped forward with restraints in hand. Celeste clasped her hands behind her back. Do be careful with her. She is, after all, the mother. A cold dread sliced through Lena. Then a deafening explosion ripped through the opposite wall. Wood splintered. Floodlights shattered. The strike team staggered. Through the cloud of dust and debris, a vehicle's engine roared. It wasn't Celeste's. It wasn't Cole's. It was a black pickup truck barreling straight through the wall of the ferry station. And behind the wheel was a man Lena never expected to see again. The black pickup tore through the collapsing wall like a battering ram, wood splintering, metal twisting as the vehicle fishtailed across the flooded concrete floor. People screamed. Operatives scattered. Dust filled the air so thick Lena could barely see her own hands, let alone the man behind the wheel. Adrian shielded her instinctively, coughing as debris rained down around them. Mara ducked behind a storage crate, dragging Ariel with her. Celeste remained eerily calm, simply stepping back as if she had predicted the impact itself. But she hadn't predicted the driver. The truck skidded to a stop inches from Celeste's polished shoes. The driver's door flew open, and out stepped Grayson Holt, a name Lena hadn't spoken in years. A man she had once treated in the ER after a near-fatal accident. A man with a mysterious past and a presence that always felt one step away from danger. She hadn't known what happened to him after he vanished from the hospital without paperwork, without discharge, without goodbye. But here he was, rougher, broader, scarred, and very much alive. Grayson slammed the truck door shut, glaring at the operatives who were slowly regaining their footing. "Rowan," he growled, "I thought you'd sunk lower, but taking a newborn, even for you, that's a new record." Celeste's expression tightened barely. "I should have known he'd call you." Adrian frowned. "Who called him? Not me." Grayson jerked his thumb toward the passenger window of the truck. "She did." A figure stepped out. Lena gasped. It was Nurse Mara's older sister, Hallie, the one who worked in hospital administration, the one who had access to internal systems, the one who must have seen the transfer order hours ago and realized something was horribly wrong. Hallie ran straight to Lena. "I tracked the extraction order the second it was flagged. Cole wasn't behind it, Celeste was. I knew you'd be in danger." The operatives regrouped, weapons drawn. Celeste lifted a hand. "Take the child. Kill the rest." End quote. Grayson cracked his neck, rolling his shoulders like a fighter preparing for a brawl. Bad call. Then chaos erupted. Operatives lunged. Grayson moved like a storm, swift, brutal, precise. Adrian grabbed a broken plank and swung it at an attacker, knocking him backward. Mara and Hallie ducked behind the truck. Lena crouched low, shielding Evan with her entire body. His tiny cry sliced through the thunderous noise, a desperate reminder that every second mattered. Celeste, untouched by the violence, stepped toward Lena as if strolling through a garden. "You can't protect him forever," she said softly. "Men like Cole fall, but I endure." Lena backed away, breath shaking. "Stay away from my son." Celeste smiled. A quiet, terrifying smile. "No." She reached into her coat and pulled out a small device, sleek, black, blinking red. Adrian saw it too late. "Lana, move." Celeste pressed the trigger, and the floor beneath Lena exploded into darkness. The floor vanished beneath Lena's feet. One moment she was clutching Evan to her chest, the next she was plummeting through darkness as rotten boards split open and a cloud of dust exploded upward. She didn't have time to scream. Instinct took over, curling her body, twisting midair so Evan stayed against her, shielded. They hit something hard but not fatal, an old maintenance platform about 8 feet below. Pain tore through her back and abdomen, reopening every tender wound from labor. Evan wailed, a thin, terrified cry that sliced through the ringing in her ears. Above her, chaos raged. Shouts, gunfire, splintering wood, the storm's roar. And Celeste Rowan's measured, ice-cold voice, "Retrieve the child, leave the mother." Adrian's shout cut through the darkness. "Lena, answer me." "I'm here," she cried, wincing as the vibration of her voice sent pain radiating through her ribs. "Evan's okay, just hurry." Grayson leaned over the edge, peering down. "There's a crawl space under the platform. You can get out through the maintenance tunnels." Celeste heard him. "Block the exits," she ordered. Operatives scrambled to obey. Lena forced herself upright, clutching Evan tight. Her vision blurred, but she stayed focused. She had to. The platform beneath her creaked with ominous protest. Any wrong step might send the whole thing collapsing deeper into the underpass. Mara's voice echoed faintly from above. "Lena, you have to move. They're coming." End quote. Lena slipped toward the dark opening in the wall, a jagged tear in the concrete, leading into a narrow tunnel. Her legs shook violently, but she kept going. Evan's cries softened to weak whimpers, exhaustion overtaking fear. Just as she reached the mouth of the tunnel, a body dropped down from above. Not Adrian. Not Grayson. Not someone she recognized. An operative, massive, masked, silent. He landed between her and the tunnel, blocking her escape. Lena staggered back, gripping Evan even closer. "Please, he's just a baby." The man didn't speak. He stepped forward, hand outstretched. Not violently, not cruelly, simply programmed. He was here to complete a task. Behind him, dust drifted like snow in the dim light, outlining his broad frame. Lena backed into a support beam, heart slamming against her ribs. There was nowhere left to go. No more tricks, no more tunnels. Above them, Celeste called out coolly, "Take the child. Do not harm the mother unless necessary." The operative reached for Evan. Lena closed her eyes. Then, a deafening crack echoed through the chamber. A gunshot. The operative jerked backward, collapsing, his hand inches from Evan. Lena gasped, spinning toward the source of the shot. At the top of the broken floor stood a figure drenched in rain, breathing hard, gun still aimed down into the underpass. It wasn't Adrian. It wasn't Grayson. It wasn't anyone she expected. It was Cole Harriman. For a moment, Lena couldn't breathe. Cole stood at the edge of the shattered floor, rainwater streaming down his face, gun still raised. His expensive shirt clung to his chest, dirt and blood smeared across the sleeves. His expression wasn't triumphant or heroic, just wild, unstable, like a man who had finally lost control of every lie he'd built his life on. "Get away from my family," Cole growled, voice shaking. Adrian shouted from above, "Don't trust him, Lena. He's not here to save you, he's here because Celeste turned on him." Celeste's lips curved into a cold smile. "Is that what he told you? Oh, how predictable." Cole pointed the gun at her next. "You tried to take my son? You tried to ruin me." "No," Celeste replied smoothly, stepping forward without fear. "You ruined yourself long before tonight. I simply accelerated the process." Operatives repositioned behind her, weapons trained. The air thickened with threat. Cole's hand trembled around the weapon, his chest rising and falling rapidly as panic swelled beneath his anger. Lena's voice cracked. "Cole, why are you here?" He turned his gaze to her, something desperate flickering behind the rage. "Lena, listen to me. I didn't know she'd go this far. I thought," he swallowed, "I thought I could negotiate with her." Ariel shouted from above. "Negotiate? You sold your son." Cole snapped. "I didn't sell him. I offered temporary leverage. I just needed time. I never meant for anything to happen to him." Lena felt sick. "You gambled Evan's life to cover your debts." Cole's voice broke. "I was going to fix it. I didn't know she had men ready to." Celeste cut him off. "Cole, you disappoint me. Again, you knew exactly what you were agreeing to. You simply lacked the courage to follow through." Cole fired another shot, this one grazing the floor near Celeste's feet. The operative sprang into motion, aiming at him. Cole stumbled backward, shouting, "Lena, get Evan out. I'll hold them off." But Lena saw the truth in his eyes. He wasn't protecting them. He was bargaining. He wanted to trade himself for time. For leverage. For survival. Adrian yelled down, "Lena, move! Don't stay near him." Before she could take a step, the weakened platform beneath Cole finally gave way with a loud crack. Wood splintered, metal groaned. Cole's eyes widened as the floor dropped out beneath him. He fell, hard, landing mere feet from Lena. The gun skittered across the concrete. Dust rose. Cole groaned, clutching his leg, broken, useless. Celeste approached the edge of the collapse, peering down with chilling composure. "Mr. Harriman," she said evenly, "your usefulness has officially expired." She lifted her hand. Operatives descended toward him, and trapped between them, her injured ex-husband and a newborn in her arms. Lena realized she might not escape this room alive. Dust hung in the air like smoke. Lena crouched low, Evan pressed tight against her chest, her pulse thundering painfully in her ears. Cole lay groaning on the cracked concrete, clutching his broken leg while Celeste's operatives closed in on him with mechanical precision. Adrian scrambled down to Lena's level, landing beside her with a grunt. "We don't have long," he whispered. "They're going to cut their losses. That means taking Evan and eliminating the rest of us." Lena swallowed a sob. "We can't outrun them, not down here." "We're not outrunning anyone," Grayson called from a few feet away as he reloaded a fallen operative's weapon. "We're outmaneuvering them." A tremor of fear rippled through Lena. "How?" Grayson nodded at the enormous network of pipes lining the underpass. "This used to be part of the ferry's hydraulic system. Some sections still feed into the river. If we can reach the drainage culvert, we can get out before they cut us off." Adrian frowned. "And you know this?" "How?" "Because I used to hide weapons down here," Grayson replied bluntly. "Don't ask." Above them, Celeste stepped closer to the edge, peering down with the calm authority of someone surveying her property. "Dr. Blackstone," she called, "you still have an opportunity to walk away. You're a man with a bright future. Don't throw it away for a woman who brings nothing but chaos." Adrian stood, eyes blazing. "You underestimate the woman standing next to me." "I come?" Celeste's smile chilled the air. "No, I understand her perfectly. Desperation makes people reckless. That's why she's so easy to break." Lena's entire body tensed, but before she could respond, Cole forced himself upright on one elbow. "You can't take him," he rasped. "Evan's mine." Celeste didn't even turn. "Cole, you are finished. The moment you attempted to back out of our agreement, I ensured every piece of leverage you had was stripped. Your assets, your standing, your protection, all gone." Cole's face twisted with panic. "Celeste, please." "Remove him," she ordered. Two operatives grabbed Cole by the arms, dragging him toward the debris-filled center of the chamber. Cole kicked weakly, shouting, "Lena, don't let her take Evan. He's all I have left." Lena stared at him. This man who abandoned her in labor, who traded their infant son for debt relief, who nearly got them killed, was finally afraid. Afraid of losing everything. And for the first time, she saw him clearly. "He's not yours anymore," Lena said quietly. "Not tonight. Not ever." Celeste's eyes snapped toward her. Cold. Deadly. "Then, you leave me no choice." She raised a hand. Operatives moved instantly, dropping into the underpass with military precision, boots thudding against the concrete. Grayson fired back, taking down the first wave, but more poured in. Adrian grabbed Lena's arm. "Now run." End quote. Grayson yanked open a rusted hatch in the wall. The roar of rushing river water echoed inside. Lena hesitated only a second. Then she ran. But as she reached the hatch, a hand shot out of the shadows and closed around her wrist with crushing force. The grip around Lena's wrist was iron cold, merciless, and far too familiar. She gasped, spinning halfway as she shielded Evan with her free arm. The dim underpass lights flickered against the damp concrete, revealing the face of the man who had seized her. Not Celeste. Not an operative. Not Cole. It was Rowan Cade, Celeste's enforcer, the one she sent when she wanted something done quietly. "You're coming with me," Rowan growled, his voice low and steady, like he'd already decided every outcome but hers. Adrian lunged toward them, but another operative intercepted him, driving a knee into his ribs. Adrian collapsed to one side, gasping for breath. Grayson fired 2 shots, forcing several operatives to take cover, but Rowan didn't flinch. His grip only tightened. "Let her go," Grayson shouted. Rowan glared. "You want the baby to survive? Then stop firing." Lena's chest tightened. Evan whimpered against her heart, his tiny fists trembling. The sound tore through her like a blade. Rowan leaned closer, breath warm and chilling against her ear. "You were supposed to hand the child over at the hospital. You made this messy." Lena choked out. "I made this messy? You're kidnapping an infant." "Collateral," Rowan corrected. That word again, that word made something inside her snap. "I'm not property," Lena whispered fiercely. "And neither is my son." Rowan didn't react. He pulled her toward the hatch, dragging her like a prisoner toward the rushing echo of the river beyond. Behind them, Celeste watched with icy satisfaction. "Bring me the child," she ordered. "We're done wasting time." Grayson charged forward with a yell, but an operative tackled him, both men crashing into a pile of debris. Mara screamed as another operative approached her. Hallie tried to protect her, swinging a jagged plank, desperate but outmatched. Adrian struggled up, blood dripping from his temple. "Lena, fight him." She tried. She twisted, clawed at Rowan's wrist, kicked at his legs. But he was immovable, the kind of man built for force, not persuasion. Rowan hissed, "Stop," but Lena didn't. She drove her elbow into his ribs, surprising him long enough for her to break free. She stumbled backward, nearly losing her footing, but Adrian caught her arm, steadying her despite his injuries. "You're okay," he gasped. "We're getting out of here." Rowan turned slowly, eyes blazing with a fury that made Lena's blood run cold. "That was a mistake," he growled. He charged. Adrian shoved Lena toward the hatch. "Go." Lena clutched Evan, heart pounding. Rowan reached them in 3 strides. But before he could grab her again, a voice thundered through the chamber. "Enough!" A voice as cold as Celeste's, but deeper. Older. Familiar to no one in the room except Celeste herself. And the moment she heard it, Celeste Rowan, who feared nothing, went pale. Because stepping out of the shadows was the one person even she couldn't control. The chamber fell silent. Even the operatives froze, as if the voice slicing through the darkness had cut every sound in half. Rowan Cade stopped mid-step, muscles locked. Celeste Rowan, impossibly composed until now, slowly turned toward the shadows, with a stiffness that betrayed the first crack in her armor. From the dim corridor behind the shattered ferry station wall, a tall man stepped into the faint light. His suit was soaked from the storm, but he carried himself with a calm authority that made everyone instinctively step back. His name was Matthias Rowan, Celeste's older brother, the true founder of the Rowan dynasty, a man whose power eclipsed even hers. Lena felt Adrian tense beside her. Grayson muttered under his breath, "Great." As if we needed another devil in the room. Celeste's face, usually carved from marble, softened into something close to fear. "Matthias, you weren't supposed to be here." Matthias's eyes swept the chamber, landing briefly on Lena, then Evan, then the operatives still gripping their weapons. His voice remained steady, low, and icy. "Explain," he said. Celeste lifted her chin, regaining her composure. Cole Harriman defaulted on his obligations. The child was offered as collateral. "I'm simply enforcing the agreement." Matthias stepped closer, his gaze cutting sharper with every word. "A newborn," he said. "You attempted to claim a newborn as payment for financial losses?" "Leverage," Celeste corrected, though her voice wavered. "Temporary leverage." Matthias turned to Lena. "Is that your child?" Lena tightened her arms around Evan. "Yes." "And were you aware of this agreement?" "No," she whispered. "Cole never told me. I never consented." Matthias nodded once, expression unreadable. "Then it is invalid." Celeste stiffened. "You have no authority to overrule my operations." "Daughter Ninders." Matthias turned slowly, eyes narrowing. "I built this empire before you learned to speak. You act in my name, with my resources, under my protection." And tonight, his voice hardened. "You disgraced it." A murmur rippled through the operatives. Rowan Cade shifted uneasily. Celeste tried to recover. "Matthias, you don't understand," Cole threatened to expose. "I don't care about Cole," Matthias snapped. "I care about our legacy. Our control is built on precision, clean deals, respect." "You crossed a line." Celeste's jaw clenched. "So what? You'll strip my position? Dissolve my accounts?" Matthias stepped forward until they stood inches apart. "No," he said softly. "I'll correct your mistake." Then he turned to his operatives. "Stand down, all of you." Weapons lowered instantly. Rowan Cade stepped back, uncertainty flickering through his hardened stare. For the first time since the chase began, Lena felt a flicker of hope. But it died as quickly as it surfaced. Because Celeste Rowan, realizing she was losing everything, moved with sudden, frantic precision, snatching a fallen pistol from the ground and spinning toward Lena. "No one takes what's mine," she hissed. The barrel leveled at Evan. Adrian yelled, "Lena, look out!" And Celeste pulled the trigger. The shot cracked through the chamber like lightning splitting the world. Lena barely had time to react. Adrian dove in front of her, knocking her to the ground while shielding Evan with his body. Dust exploded from the wall behind them as the bullet ricocheted into the concrete. "Adrian!" Lena cried, trembling. "I'm okay," he gasped, though pain flashed across his face. It missed. Matthias's voice thundered across the chamber. "Celeste." But Celeste wasn't listening. She fired again. Wild and frantic, her composure shattered, her eyes blazing with a desperation Lena had never seen before. Two of Matthias's operatives tackled her from behind, but she fought like an animal, screaming, "He belongs to me. The child is mine. I won't lose everything to some nobody." Rowan Cade moved to intervene, but Matthias raised a hand. Stand down. She made her choice. His tone was carved from ice. Celeste thrashed, kicking, spitting, clawing at the men restraining her. You're destroying everything we built, she shrieked at her brother. Matthias didn't even blink. No, Celeste. You destroyed it the moment you turned innocent lives into bargaining chips. Cole groaned from the ground, attempting to pull himself backward, away from Celeste's fury. His voice shook. She was going to kill me. Matthias looked down at him with quiet disdain. You were never worth killing. Grayson rushed to Lena, helping her sit up while Adrian checked Evan. He's okay, Adrian whispered. He's scared, but he's okay. Lena's tears finally spilled over. Relief, shock, exhaustion. All of it surged at once. Celeste, pinned to the floor, glared up at her. You think you've won? She snarled. You think he'll protect you? Matthias only protects what he owns. Matthias turned away from her, signaling his operatives. Remove her from my sight. She is no longer a Rowan. The words hit harder than any bullet. Celeste stiffened, disbelief washing across her face. You can't exile me. I already have, Matthias replied. As they dragged her toward the far corridor, Celeste screamed a raw, guttural sound. Lena, I'll find you. I'll take everything you love. Everything. Her voice faded as the corridor swallowed her whole. Silence settled again, but not peace. Not yet. Cole crawled closer, eyes wild. Lena, please, help me. You can't let them take her away. You can't let them leave me like this. I'm still your husband. Lena stared at him. The man who abandoned her. The man who gambled their son. The man who caused every nightmare of the past 72 hours. No, she said softly. Not anymore. Cole's face twisted. You ungrateful. He reached for her ankle. Grayson kicked his hand away. Touch her again, and you won't be able to use that hand ever again. Matthias approached Lena with measured steps. You are free to go, he said. Rowan interests in Cole Harriman are dissolved. You and your son are no longer targets. Lena exhaled shakily. It's over? Matthias's gaze darkened. For her, yes, but for him, he glanced at Cole with a silent verdict. He still has debts to pay. The storm finally eased as dawn crept over the river, washing the shattered ferry station in muted gold. The chaos was gone. Celeste had been taken away, her empire dismantled in a single humiliating night. Cole sat handcuffed against a support beam, shivering, defeated, everything he'd clung to slipping from his grasp. There was no fight left in him. Lena stood a few feet away, Evan nestled peacefully in her arms at last. Adrian pressed a gentle hand to her back, steadying her still-shaking breath. Grayson and Mara guarded the entrance while Matthias Rowan quietly made a final call, his voice low and commanding the kind that sealed fates. When he hung up, Matthias approached Cole. Your company is gone, he said calmly. Your assets frozen. You made reckless choices, and the law will address them now. Cole's voice cracked. Matthias, please, I can fix this. I just need time. Matthias didn't blink. The time you had was borrowed from others. And you spent it. Then he turned to Lena. You and your son are under my protection. No Rowan interests will ever pursue you again. Lena managed a quiet, thank you. It wasn't forgiveness, just acknowledgement. And that was all Matthias wanted. Police sirens in the distance grew louder. Cole heard them and broke completely. Lena, don't let them take me, he sobbed. Please, I'm your husband. Lena looked at him, really looked. For the first time, she saw not a monster, not a threat, but a man hollowed out by his own greed. You were my husband, she said softly. And you threw that away long before tonight. Cole's face crumpled. Officers arrived moments later, lifting him to his feet as he begged for another chance. No one listened. As he was loaded into the cruiser, he looked back at Lena one last time. But she didn't look back. Instead, she stepped into the soft morning light, holding Evan as Adrian helped her across the broken concrete. Grayson opened the truck door for them with an approving nod. This is your second chance, he told her quietly. Don't waste it. Weeks later, Lena stood on a cliffside terrace overlooking the Hamptons shoreline. Evan giggled in her arms. Healthier, stronger, finally free of fear. Behind her, the renovated estate Adrian gifted her gleamed under the sunlight, her new home, her new life. Adrian approached, heart steady, eyes warm. "Lena," he said softly, "you don't owe me anything, but if you allow it, I'd like to be part of the life you're building. With you, with him." Lena felt tears rise not from fear, but from peace. "Yes," she whispered. "We're ready." End quote. Adrian kissed her forehead as Evan laughed between them, the ocean wind carrying the beginning of a life finally deserved. And Lena Whitford stepped forward, not as someone running from danger, but as a woman finally walking into the future she earned. Well, that's it, my wonderful friends. Our story has come to a close. And if you're still here with us right now, it means something in this journey touched your heart in a way only real struggles can. Maybe it reminded you of your own strength, or maybe it whispered a truth you needed to hear today. Life gives us storms, sometimes unfair ones, but as Marcus Aurelius wrote, the impediment to action advances action. What stands in the way becomes the way. Lena's path wasn't easy. She walked through fear, betrayal, and danger, but every obstacle pushed her toward becoming the woman she was meant to be. And that's a reminder for all of us. We don't break in the storm, we shape ourselves inside it. So take this story with you. Let it remind you that your boundaries matter, your peace matters, and no one, absolutely no one, has the right to dim the light you're trying to grow. If this touched you, if it made you feel seen, if even one moment felt like healing, please like, share, and subscribe. It helps our little community keep telling stories that speak to the soul. And remember, you're stronger than you think, and you deserve a life that honors that strength.